So this is not something that I talk about often on this channel, just because I know it can be a little embarrassing to speak on it, especially from somebody who has dealt with this issue before. And I know for you guys it could be embarrassing to talk to other people about it too. I know it's not the most natural thing to go up to your friends or your parents and tell them, hey, yo, I've been struggling with watching P. And by the way, I'm going to use a lot of code words and innuendos throughout this video because I don't want this video to get blocked from half the countries around the world. And again, this is an issue I want to talk about because, like I said, it's not a very easy topic to discuss with your friends, your family, and even having the conversation with yourself can be difficult as well. As embarrassing or uncomfortable as it may be to talk about this, I think some of the things I'm sharing here today could help a lot of you guys. Simple mental tricks that you can use to help you in these situations that I don't think I've heard anybody speak on. At least this is just what I've used personally and have uncovered personally. Maybe I've pulled from different various sources and combined it all to create, these things that help me. But as a guy, you still get urges. You still, sometimes you're just scrolling on social media. And if being on social media, what social media is today, man, it's damn near softcore, P on there. As it is. So it's like a touch away from being what we don't want to look at. But to create the mental fortitude you need in order to say no to these urges, to overcome these urges, it's a lot more mental than it is physical. But I also think that the two are tied together. I think a lot of people think they need to overcome this urge and that their body just takes over and that they can't help it. But I think it's kind of a double-edged sword, and these two things are more intertwined than you think. And a lot of what I'm saying right now may not make any sense, so let me just hop straight into the mindset shift that you need to have in order to overcome this addiction or issue that you're having. Let me start off by saying that nobody should be wanting to watch the hub or this type of content. Now, it's one thing if you are struggling with watching it and it's an addiction for you and it's hard for you to overcome and it's become an issue. It's one thing. But point blank period, you're never going to succeed if this is something that you enjoy and you want to continue doing. You need to want to change. First and foremost, you need to want to change, and that is the bare minimum requirement. Now, I'm assuming a lot of you on this video clicked on this video because you want to change, so that's a fantastic start. But for anybody not on that same page, you need to want to change. You need to want to change, and you should want to change for a variety of reasons. This isn't the reason to go into why watching the hub and beating your meat can be a detriment to your life. I'm sure there's a lot of channels out there, maybe even including mine. I'm not sure if I recall I have a video on this topic already, but I'm not going to get into that. Point is, you need to want to change. If you don't want to change, this is never going to succeed. Now that we've established that, the next thing you need to do, and you're kind of already halfway there by admitting that this is something you don't want to do, is telling yourself that this activity, beating your meat, watching the hub, watching that type of content, you need to tell yourself that that activity is for losers. Now, if you're somebody that does it and you're addicted to it and you have an issue with it, right now, I hate to say it, you're a loser. You're a loser, but that's okay. I'm not here to shame you for doing it. I'm not here to tell you that you're this and that. It's okay. You can be a loser right now, but if you fix this habit, if you change this habit, you'll be a loser no more. It's the same way that somebody could be a bodybuilder, but if they haven't lifted weights for a whole year, I wouldn't consider them a bodybuilder any longer. Former bodybuilder, right? You could be a former loser. That's okay. I'm sure we've all been losers at some point in our life. So it's okay to be a former loser. But right now, if you're engaging in this activity, you have to consider yourself a loser. And I know this isn't commonplace and you don't hear this on our internet a lot of the time. We hear this, accept yourself for how you are and pat your back through all of these things, you can overcome it. No, you have to tell yourself you're a loser right now because you engage in these activities. Now, we're here to change that. We're here to turn you from a loser to a winner, or have a winning mentality on the path to becoming a winner. But right now, you are a loser if this is something that you're addicted to and do on a consistent basis. But that's okay. If you're a loser that wants to quit this and become a winner, you are in the right place, okay? You have to accept it, though, that this isn't a loser activity, and every time that you want to do it or do engage in it, you have to tell yourself that you're a loser for doing it. Because this stuff is not going to work if you think that doing it is okay and you give yourself passes every time. And I'm not saying to be so hard on yourself that you get depressed or anything like that, but you just have to accept that fact. As a matter of fact, you are a loser because you have done these things. It sounds harsh, it sounds bad, but hey man, let's keep it real. The winners aren't doing this stuff. The winners got the real thing. And that leads me on to my next point. You need to want it in real life, man. As a man especially, you need to want it in real life. You need to be that guy in the video, not the guy watching the video. Now, I don't mean start OnlyFans and start uploading the shit online. I don't mean that at all. I'm just saying the stuff that you watch online, the people you see, you have to become that person. You have to become the guy that's actually doing the activity that you see as opposed to watching it. Not only does this mess up your brain in so many ways I can't even begin to describe. If you want a deeper dive into it from a professional perspective, I recommend you guys check out Andrew Huberman's podcast. He talks a lot about addictions and these sort of things, this sort of content online. But not only does it mess up your brain, it messes up the real attraction you have in the real world. It messes up your confidence and just an overall killer for your life, I think. Personally, there's no benefit to it. At least not doing it on a regular basis. Yeah, every now and then, sure, we can argue about benefits for your health and all that. But on a regular basis, everyday basis, every other day basis, it has no benefit to do it that often. And you need to be wanting to do this activity in real life. You need to be experiencing this, especially as a man, in real life. And one thing I would tell myself when I was going through this that helped me quite a lot, and there's an even better tip later in the video you guys want to stick around for, but this tip right here helped me a lot as well. You got to say to yourself, I'm going to get her. Now, I know that sounds crazy and probably unrealistic, and you probably shouldn't want the girl in the video because she's in the video, right? But that mentality has to be there. You have to want to be the guy doing the thing, not watching the guy do the thing. And to do that, you just tell yourself, I'm going to get her. I'm going to get her. And I don't necessarily mean that you have to actually go out and try to get this girl and DM her and, do these things. But if this is something, this connection, right? Forget all the extra crazy shit. Let's not talk about that stuff. Just the connection and doing that act, right? You have to want it in real life. You have to want it more than wanting to do the beating your meat thing in the moment. And that'll stop you from doing it. Because if you keep telling yourself, if you have that thought in the back of your head, if you kind of file this in the back of your head, I need to get this in real life, I can't keep getting it through a screen, you will be more motivated to do so. Because when I told myself, hey, you need to get this girl in real life, you need to get a girl like that in real life. Let's just say a girl that looks whatever. You want, this girl is hot that you're watching the video. You need a girl like that IRL. Obviously not doing the same stuff that she's doing on the internet, but you know what I mean. Once you get that motivation, every time, at least for me, every time that I would do it, I'd have that thought in the back of my head. And that brings us to the next tip. And this is the biggest, mark my words, the biggest thing you can do. It's by far the most powerful, the strongest, and this is where the body takes over the mind, okay? You can always close the tabs. This is actually the most powerful thing you can tell yourself. This is something that I want you guys to hammer into your mind. You can always close the tabs, especially if you're somebody that gets a sense of guilt before you even finish doing the thing, right? If you're somebody that just goes on, first video you see, you just go, okay, look, buddy, I'm sorry, you got a lot of issues, and maybe some of these will help, but that's a little crazy. I know most of the people that engage in this stuff, they don't go, on page one, first video, and just get to it, right? Open up a few tabs, they go to this video, that video, right? You can always close the tabs, man. If you are the type of person that gets a sense of guilt before you even do the deed, you have to remind yourself, you have to hammer this in. You can always close the tab, because the sense of empowerment and the gratitude that you'll have for yourself, not only in the moment, because in the moment it feels great, trust me, but in the future is insurmountable, right? You have all these videos up. Maybe you're on page 6, right? I'm getting too deep into this, but you know what I'm talking about. You have these videos up. If you just take a look at all those tabs and can hit the X button and close it out and go on and do something else, man, that's the biggest win you can have, because that's the hardest time to resist. When you're right there, you're that close, all of this is in front of you, you're horned up. I don't blame you from seeing all this shit, right? If you can be strong enough to close those tabs, that is a win. And that is actually the thing that's going to help you the most. It's a complete game changer when you go from, giving into your urge and going on these websites and then realizing, what, I really shouldn't be doing this. Like, I told myself I wouldn't do it or whatever. You catch yourself. And in that moment, when you catch yourself, instead of still going through it and saying, you know what, I'll start tomorrow, or, you know, I'll allow it this one time. If you can change that into being, you know what, tired of this. I'm tired of going through the same thing on a consistent basis. I'm tired of always saying next time, and I'm tired of always, you know, being here on these sites. And then next time, closing them will be even easier and even easier and even easier. And then as sooner or later, you're not going to be searching it up, even in the first place. And again, you know, it can be hard, especially with the internet. Like I said earlier, you know, some of the stuff we see online is damn near the shit that you search up. It's a touch away from being that. Seeing that online, especially for somebody who's dealing with loneliness, your desire to want it in real life has to be greater than your desire to watch it in the moment. And closing those tabs is the biggest gift that you can give yourself. It's saying, no, my mental is stronger than my, I guess, physical urge to do this, right? My mental. I am so deeply committed to finding a relationship or this connection or just doing this, however freaky it may be that you're seeing on the screen. I'm so deeply committed to getting this in real life and not having my hand on instead of a real person. I'm so deeply committed to that I'm going to close these tabs out. And I'm not going to do this today. At least for today. Think of it as a one-day thing. Think of it as a win today. If you can win today, focus on tomorrow when tomorrow gets here, right? Tomorrow, you got to win that day. And then the next day, you got to win that day. Just take it a day at a time. Your ability to tell yourself that this is a loser activity, right? And I don't want to be a loser anymore. I want this in real life. I'm tired of going to the same sites over and over again. I'm tired of seeing the same bitches that aren't even real. I'm tired of laying in my bed and doing this. I want a real girl in my bed. Once you tell yourself that, it's easy. And another thing I'll say, if you happen to mess up, if you happen to screw up, go on there, do the thing, you feel bad, it's all right. One day is not going to ruin things for you. Going to the gym one time does not make you a bodybuilder, right? But 2 days is a bad habit. One day, it's just a bad choice. 2 days, it becomes a bad habit. So I urge you guys to never string 2 of these days in a row. If you take anything away from this video, if you can't remind yourself to close tabs, if you can't connect this activity with being a loser, if you don't even care about getting this in real life, forming a genuine connection, having real sexual connections with a woman in real life, if none of those things resonated with you, take this away. At least, because this is one of the most important things to prevent yourself from getting consumed by this as a bad habit and it taking over other aspects of your life. One day is just a bad choice. 2 days, it becomes a habit. Never do this 2 days in a row. As much as you have to resist, go do something else, man. That's all I got for you guys today on this video. I'm not sure if this was helpful at all, but these are kind of the 3 or 4 main things that I use to turn this from a bad habit into an afterthought of my life and something that, you know, yeah, I get temptations, I get urges, I get horny, you know, especially, like I said, somebody that's kind of introverted, keeps to themselves, doesn't have a boatload of hoes in his phone and have girls lining up to date me, right? It's hard when you're in those times of, you know, getting rejected or being lonely or wanting that intimate connection. But these 4 tips have really helped me, you know, just, it's all right. Just keep on chugging. Again, repeat it. I'll repeat them here. First one, you got to identify yourself as a loser if you do this chronically and identify this activity of being you meet and going on a hub as a loser activity. The second one is you need to tell yourself you want this in real life, man. Come on, bro. Stop looking at the girl through the screen. Invite her to your house, okay? Stop. You got to want this in real life. Bro to bro, forget all the scientific stuff I'm talking, whatever. Forget all of it. Man to man, look at me in the eye. You want to tell your homies that you don't want to say, yeah, I saw her on the hub. No, you want to say, oh, yeah, I saw her at my house. Again, a little bit of a gross exaggeration, but you get the point. You got to want it in real life. Number 3, you can always close the tabs, man. The most powerful thing, you can always close the tabs. You're going to be thanking yourself tenfold if you can do it. If you got the power to open up all those tabs, you got the power to close them. It's easier to close tabs than it is to open them. I know. Okay? So don't lie to me. Click that X. And if you do click that X, don't open them back up. Just pat yourself on the back. Go get an ice cream. Whatever you got to do to cope with the fact that you couldn't engage in this activity. But you did good job. Pat yourself on the back. And the last thing is, don't make it 2 days in a row. One bad day, it's okay, bro. Move on. Don't do it the next day. Continue not participating in this habit. But 2 days in a row, you're walking on glass. You're walking on eggshells. I don't know if it's which one of those. Can I use both those similes, or is walking on eggshells? Anyway, you're about to fall through the damn cracks. If you guys need more help with this topic, let me know in the comment section down below. Let me know if this is even something you guys are dealing with still. If this is, have this gotten worse for you? Have this gotten better? I'm really curious to hear you guys' experience on this, because I know a lot of guys that struggle with this. I don't know a single guy that hasn't at least watched it once. You know, at some point, hopefully we all stop and kind of mature. It's just different timelines for all of us, and hopefully these tips can help you get there faster. Thanks for watching. I'll see you on the next one. Bah!